If fake energy feels physically painful, you're a true dark, chosen one. I need you to breathe slowly for this one, because this isn't going to be the type of spiritual message that wraps you in light and tells you everything happens for a reason. That's not what you came here for, is it? You didn't incarnate to be comfortable. You came to feel everything, to walk through fire without flinching, to stand in rooms where the energy is fake, sickly, twisted, and feel it like knives in your nervous system. Not because you're weak, not because you're broken, because you're tuned to a frequency that most people will never hear. But you are a true dark chosen one, and the pain you feel when energy is fake, when people are lying through their smiles, when a room is soaked in pretense that pain is your gift. It's your compass. It's your alarm system screaming you do not belong here. I know you felt it. That strange nausea in your gut when someone's words don't match their vibration. That pressure in your head when you're surrounded by people performing kindness, hiding bitterness behind their eyes. That full-body exhaustion after spending just a few hours in a place that looks normal but feels like soulless static. You've walked into rooms where everyone else was laughing, talking, vibing, and something in you started to tighten. Your jaw clenched, your stomach turned, your breath shortened, and maybe you asked yourself, what's wrong with me? But let me flip that question. What if nothing is wrong with you? What if everything is right with you, so right that your body can't tolerate what's false?
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
This isn't hypersensitivity. This is energetic intelligence. Your body is a frequency detector. And as a dark chosen one, that detector is tuned to truth. Not light, not darkness, truth. And that truth doesn't show up in words. It shows up in vibration, in tone, in posture, in silence. And the moment something is off, your system reacts. It doesn't give you a polite hint. It gives you pain. Why? Because when your purpose is tied to decoding illusions, your soul refuses to let you stay in places built on them. But here's the twist. This power doesn't feel like power. It feels like burden, like isolation, like spiritual allergies. And that's why most people who carry this frequency struggle with thoughts of what's wrong with me, or why do I feel everything so deeply? You don't just sense negativity, you embody it the second you're near it. You take on frequencies like armor, not because you're trying to, but because your field is porous by design. Because you were never meant to ignore the energetic sickness of this world. You were meant to feel it, transmute it, expose it. But you can't do that if you're still doubting your gift. Do you remember what it felt like the first time you knew someone was lying to you but you had no proof? Do you remember how your body screamed, how your skin crawled, how your chest tightened, but your mind said, maybe it's just me? That moment is where most people abandon their gift. They choose logic over knowing. They betray their body to protect someone else's illusion. But not you. Not anymore, because your body is not broken. It's prophetic. Every headache, every gut punch, every chill down your spine is a message. And if you ignore it, the pain gets louder. Not because the universe is punishing you, but because ignoring your gift is the only thing that will ever truly hurt you. Let me ask you something you've probably never said out loud. Have you ever felt like the only real one in a room full of masks? Like you were watching a play you didn't audition for, people laughing too loud, complimenting too quickly, smiling with dead eyes. And there you are, sober in a room of emotional drunks, not judging, just seeing, not attacking, just feeling. And what you feel makes you want to scream or run. That's not social anxiety. That's spiritual collision. Your frequency is so authentic, so raw, that anything synthetic becomes painful, and not annoying, painful. And the deeper you walk into your path, the more intense that pain becomes. Because the more light you carry inside your shadow, the more allergic you become to what's fake. This is why dark chosen ones cannot stay in shallow environments. You can't fake friendships. You can't sit through small talk. You can't pretend to care about things that have no soul. And if you try, your body will shut down. You'll get sick. You'll get drained. You'll feel like you're dying, and in a way you are. Because every time you betray your frequency to fit in, a part of you dims. And that's not what you came here to do. You didn't come here to blend in. You came here to break the structure. But here's the danger. When you don't understand your gift, you start to hate it. You start to isolate. You start to think maybe there's something wrong with you. Maybe you're too intense, too sensitive, too dramatic. And so you try to numb it. You shrink your field. You stay quiet. You let the fake energy wash over you, hoping you can just endure it. But you weren't made to endure it. You were made to alchemize it. And you can't alchemize what you won't name. So, let's name it now. You are a dark chosen one. You walk between realms. You carry codes that threaten the illusion. You don't belong in fake spaces because your energy exposes them. You don't resonate with surface-level people because your soul speaks in symbols, wounds, and frequencies. And the pain you feel in those moments, it's not punishment, it's activation. It's the divine alarm saying, get out, shift the energy, or destroy the illusion. You are not broken. You are designed this way. And the sooner you stop apologizing for your sensitivity, the sooner you start unlocking its power. But the body is the oracle unlocking psychic intelligence through physical pain. There's a reason your body reacts before your mind understands. A reason why certain places make your heart race, why certain people make your stomach twist, why certain conversations give you migraines out of nowhere. It's not coincidence. It's not anxiety. It's not being emotionally fragile. It's oracle intelligence. Your body is not just a vessel, it is a finely tuned instrument of spiritual detection. And as a dark chosen one, your body is your first line of communication with the unseen. When fake energy moves into your field, your body doesn't wait for your mind to figure it out. It feels it. It records it. It translates it into pain, pressure, nausea, or fatigue. And if you've ever felt crazy for reacting so strongly to things others barely notice, it's because you were never meant to filter reality the way they do. You are a different species of soul. We live in a world that trains us to override the body. From a young age, we're told to sit still when we want to move, smile when we want to cry, say I'm fine when our soul is screaming. That training disconnects us from our most sacred compass, our physical intuition. But you didn't just inherit a body, you inherited a sacred radar. And when you walk into a space with fake, distorted, or toxic energy, that radar flares up like a siren. Not because something's wrong with you, but because everything is wrong with the environment. You are not allergic to life. You are allergic to untruth. And here's where it gets deeper. Your body doesn't just detect lies, it detects energetic dissonance. That means when someone's vibration doesn't match their words, your nervous system picks it up. When a person says they love you but their energy says they're using you, your stomach feels it. When a place looks beautiful but carries the residue of past trauma, your chest tightens. When a conversation seems harmless but is laced with envy, your head pounds. You don't need proof. You don't need logic. You just know. And that knowing lives in your body before it reaches your mind. But if you don't understand the sacredness of that process, you'll start to distrust your own signals. You'll think, why am I so tired after visiting that friend? Or why do I feel sick every time I go to that office? And instead of honoring the signal, you'll override it. You'll push through. You'll force yourself to stay in a place your soul is begging you to leave. And over time, that betrayal compounds. You develop chronic fatigue. You get mysterious illnesses. You feel numb, disconnected, hollow. Not because your body is weak, but because it's been screaming and you haven't been listening. Let me ask you something that might reframe your entire experience. What if your pain is not a symptom to be fixed, but a message to be decay-coded? What if that migraine isn't just stress, but suppressed truth? What if that back pain isn't just bad posture, but energetic pressure from emotional burdens that aren't even yours? What if that throat tightness isn't just tension, but all the words you've swallowed to keep the peace? Can you see now how your body isn't betraying you, it's serving you? The reason this is more intense for dark chosen ones is because you're not just here to protect your own energy. You're here to read the collective. You're here to walk into rooms and feel the unspoken grief, the hidden resentment, the unacknowledged fear. And your body picks it up like a satellite. But you were never meant to carry all of it. You were meant to translate it, to feel it, name it, and choose what to do with it. But if you don't discern between what's yours and what's theirs, you get buried in pain that was never meant to stay. This is why rituals are not optional for you. You need energetic hygiene the way others need food and water. You need to clear your field daily. You need to bless your body, speak to it, thank it for its service. You need to move, dance, shake, scream, cry, whatever moves the pain out of your tissues and into awareness. The more you honor your body as an oracle, the more precise its messages become. The more you ignore it, the more chaotic the signals get, until your life becomes a series of energetic breakdowns disguised as bad luck. You are not here to numb yourself. You are here to feel more deeply than anyone else. Because feeling is your superpower. Not emotional chaos, but emotional clarity. The kind that guides you through illusions, helps you navigate lies, and makes you immune to manipulation. But that power begins with trusting your body. Every shiver, every ache, every jolt of pain is sacred data. And when you start honoring it, your body becomes your most trusted guide. This is the next level of spiritual mastery, not floating above your body in some blissful meditative state, but coming fully into it, rooting into the vessel that holds your most ancient wisdom. Because the body doesn't lie, but the body doesn't play games. The body doesn't gaslight you. It remembers. And if you listen, it will tell you everything you need to know, not just about others, but about your own path. Exile and authority, why being rejected by the world is your initiation into power. There's a pattern you've probably never been able to escape, no matter how hard you've tried. Rejection. Not just once, not just by one person, but but by many family, friends, lovers, teachers, society. At some point, you felt like the outcast, the misunderstood, the one who couldn't quite fit into the conversation, the culture, the moment. And it didn't matter how much you tried to adapt. You could wear the right clothes, speak the right words, play the right roles, and still, there it was, that subtle sense that you didn't belong, that you were too much, or not enough, or just different. But what if I told you that this rejection was never a mistake? What if I told you that exile was your initiation into authority? You see, as a dark chosen one, your very presence disturbs the status quo. Not because you're trying to, but because who you are reveals what others are hiding. Your authenticity exposes performance. Your depth threatens superficiality. Your clarity unravels manipulation. And for those who have built their lives on illusions, your energy is unbearable. They don't consciously know why they dislike you. They just do. They can't explain their discomfort, but they feel it. Because your existence reminds them of something they buried, their truth. And when people aren't ready to face truth, they attack the mirror that reflects it. This is why you've been pushed away, not because you're broken, but because your frequency is too high and too raw for most people to process. It's not just that they can't handle you. It's that being around you forces them to feel. And most people would rather stay numb than feel. They'd rather belong to a crowd than confront their own soul. And so, they exile the one who brings disruption, you. But this exile, this isn't loss. This is refinement. It's the crucible in which your power is being forged. Let me ask you something no one ever dared to. What if your isolation is sacred? What if the loneliness you felt wasn't a punishment but a purification? What if the silence wasn't emptiness but preparation? Can you feel that? That subtle shift inside you when you stop seeing rejection as abandonment and start seeing it as alignment. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand apart. Because only those who stand apart can see clearly. Only those who walk alone can hear the voice of the divine without interference. But the world will never give you permission to become who you are. It will test you. It will tempt you. It will try to seduce you with comfort, conformity, approval. And every time you choose truth over belonging, you step into your real authority. Not the authority that comes from titles or external power, but the authority that comes from knowing who you are, even when no one claps for you. That's the kind of authority that terrifies systems built on control. Because it cannot be bought, it cannot be manipulated, it cannot be silenced. And here's the paradox: the moment you stop trying to be accepted is the moment you become undeniable. The moment you accept your role as the exile is the moment you step into your role as the seer. Because the one who walks outside the village sees what no one inside it ever will. But you see patterns, you see energies, you see timelines, and when you speak, people feel it even if they don't understand it. You don't just say words, you transmit frequency, and that frequency activates something ancient in others, and that is your true gift. But this gift comes with responsibility, authority without ego, power without performance, influence without needing validation. You have to be willing to hold your truth, even when it costs you relationships, positions, opportunities. You have to trust the path of the oracle, the mystic, the watcher. It's not glamorous, it's not easy, but it is true. and truth is the only currency that matters in the end. So if you've been feeling like you're on the outside, like no one sees you, like your presence is too much for this world good, that's confirmation. That's proof that your soul remembers something the world has forgotten. And the more you stand in that remembrance, the more magnetic you become, not to the masses, but to those who are ready. Because your soul didn't come here to be liked. It came to activate. And activation is not comfortable. It's disruptive. It shakes things loose. It breaks open illusions. It calls people into their own power. And that's exactly why you've been chosen. So now, the question is no longer, why don't they accept me? The question is, why would I shrink to fit into a world I was sent to transform? You are not here to find your place. You are here to become the place where truth, shadow, and power converge. And the more you embrace that role, the more you attract those whose souls have been waiting for someone like you to remind them of who they are. The return of the architect building a world that matches your frequency. After you've walked through exile, after you've felt the betrayal and the loneliness, after your body has screamed from the fake energy of a world built on illusion, what then? What happens when you've seen too much to ever go back? When your nervous system rejects the inauthentic so violently that you can no longer pretend to be normal? That's when the final phase begins. That's when the dark chosen one becomes the architect, not the rebel, not the outcast, not the observer, but the creator of a new frequency, a new structure, a new world. You see, the mission was never just to survive the pain. It was to decode it, to listen to what the pain was teaching you. And now that you've learned to read energy, now that you've honored your body as an oracle, now that you've stood in your authority through rejection, you're ready to build a life, a space, a reality that doesn't make your soul ache. You're ready to create a world that feels safe to your nervous system, and that world won't come from outside. It will come from you. This is where everything changes, because until now, you've been reacting to energy, moving away from what hurts, escaping what drains you. But now something shifts. You begin to generate energy. You stop waiting for the environment to feel good. You become the environment. You stop searching for the right people. You start attracting them through resonance, and through clarity, through the unapologetic frequency of someone who knows exactly who they are and what they will no longer tolerate. Let me ask you something that could change the way you live. What if your pain was showing you what doesn't belong in the world you're here to build? What if every fake conversation, every manipulative person, every soulless environment was simply data evidence of what must be replaced? Because here's the secret, you don't just feel what's wrong with the world. You carry the blueprint for what's right. It lives in your chest, in your cells, in your dreams. That heavy feeling when the energy is fake, that's your body saying, this is not it. But you know what is. And now, it's time to build it. Not just through vision boards and mantras, but through boundaries, through decisions, through the radical act of saying, I will no longer betray my body to make others comfortable. You design your world by choosing what stays in your field and what gets removed. You become ruthless with your peace, not out of fear, but out of devotion. Because when your energy is clean, your creations are undeniable. And as you build this new world, you'll start to notice something miraculous. You're not alone. Other architects will start to appear. Other dark chosen ones who've been hiding in their pain will feel the vibration you're transmitting, and they'll remember. They'll feel seen, they'll feel safe. Not because you saved them, but because you gave them permission to stop shrinking. Your presence becomes a portal, a sanctuary, a frequency field that calls the real ones home. This is how we change the world, not by convincing the old systems to accept us, but by creating new ones that make the old irrelevant. We stop knocking on doors that were never built for us. We build our own temples, our own tables, our own timelines, and the more we live in alignment with our truth, the more reality bends around us. Because when you stop betraying your soul, the universe stops betraying you. So this is the moment. You've felt the pain. You've walked through the exile. You've learned to trust your body. Now, you return not to fit in, but to redefine what's possible. You return to your life with new eyes, new standards, new power. You stop reacting to energy and start commanding it. You realize you're not here to find peace. You're here to create it. And not just for yourself, but for every soul whose nervous system has been screaming in silence, waiting to feel something real. You are no longer the outcast. You are the origin point. You are no longer the victim of energy. You are the source of a new frequency. You are no longer waiting for the world to change. You are the change. And now, it's time to live like it.